everybody? Welcome to another live episode of Game Time here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am one of your hosts. I'm the Outlaw, John Rocha, joined as always by my tag team partner, on the show as well. For the time being, JT, how are you, man?
Good, man. Excited to talk about this finals. It turned out to be a good one. I think most people expected a really good finals, and we're getting it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, especially the basketball purists, they felt this was the best team in the West and the best team in the East going at it here. Phoenix really had been considered by most people the best team in the West, even though people brought up the Clippers, brought up the Jazz, brought up the Lakers when they were healthy. The Suns just kind of did their thing, building on what they did last year. But, dude, it looked like after their 2-0, going up 2-0 on the Bucks, that they kind of had the Bucks in a mental hole. And the Bucks have now won 3 straight climbing out of that mental hole thanks to the reemergence of Giannis. And we're definitely going to talk about all of that and more. All the big sports stories have. Tom Brady apparently played a whole year on an MCL injury. Richard Sherman got into some pretty bad legal issues here, pretty bad deep water there. We'll talk a little bit about some soccer, some football, some NFL news as well, with Michael Irvin saying the Dallas Cowboys aren't serious about winning a title if they're not even getting vaccinated as a team. Mm-hmm. So we're getting into all those comments. And Alex Verdugo getting hit. Look, I'm a Yankees fan, but throwing a baseball at an opposing Red Sox player, you've just gone too far. We're going to talk about all that and the shooting that happened outside the Nationals Padres game in D.C. a couple of days ago. So the sports world's getting heated, man. The summer, it's getting to them, JT, I think.
Summer of Sam. Everyone's going crazy, man.
That's for sure. But as we go along talking about this stuff, please remember the Streamlabs and the SuperChats are open. Streamlabs right above JT's head. It's also in the description of this chat, and I will pin it, description of the video, and I will pin it to the chat in just a second. But let's get into our first story as we go along, and please hit that like button as we go along as well here, JT. We got ourselves a hell of a series now. It is 3-2. The Bucks taking 3 straight off of these Suns, finally winning a game on the road, surprisingly, against Phoenix, 123-119 in Game 5 the other day. Giannis had 32 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Chris Middleton had 29 points, and Drew Holiday had 29 points, 13 assists, and 1 critical steal, just as it looked like Phoenix was going to come back and steal this game from under the Bucks. Drew Holiday had a hell of a steal, a hell of an alley-oop pass, and Giannis was able to tip back a ball after he had missed a free throw on that alley-oop dunk to Middleton, who got the foul and kind of iced this game. This was an insane game. The Suns had a 16-point lead at one point in the first half. Then were down by 14 in the second half and almost took this thing. But it was Drew Holiday showing up with his offense and his defense finally. First complete game I think he's played in the finals that kind of got them the victory here for the Bucks. So they're on the precipice here. They're going back to Milwaukee. But talk to me about what you think the Bucks have done differently after going down 0-2 to these Suns as they headed home.
I said this in our show. I picked Milwaukee to win the series. And the reason that I stand by that is because when I looked at both of these teams, Milwaukee had the best player. Yeah, I think Devin Booker is amazing. He can have those 40-point games, but he did have 2 games where he wasn't much of a factor. Chris Paul's great, but he's injury-ridden. A lot of people are saying he's playing with an injury, and he's old. He's on that twilight years of his career. So I picked Milwaukee because Giannis was the most complete superstar on both teams. Yeah. And I didn't panic when they went down 2-0 because they were in those games. Milwaukee was always in striking distance of those games. And the first game was Giannis's first game back from the injury. Right. I was going to take a game or 2 for them to get going. Every game has been pretty close. Milwaukee had 1 game, I believe, where they had a pretty comfortable lead. But yeah, watching this game, it felt like the most complete game from both teams in some ways. Yeah. It was like a heavyweight fight, shot for shot, 3 for 3. They were just trading 3 points. They were trading possessions. Yeah. Neither team could really get a stop on defense. It was an offensive game with a bunch of skilled players who were all playing to their potential. And they did. Now, this is after the Suns exploded in the first quarter. Right. And then the Bucks exploded in the second. And then that third and fourth was, like I said, a heavyweight fight back and forth. It was one of the most exciting games I think I've watched in these playoffs because of just how you really felt like watching those 2 teams last night, the other night. Yeah. These are 2 teams that belong to be in the finals because they're such a well-rounded team with shot makers, playmakers, people who hustle for the ball. Yeah. I mean, you got to give Crowder a lot of credit. He's hitting three. He's like over 50% and 3 points in the series. And I'm just so excited to watch this level of play and to see Devin Booker have a 40-point game and still lose the game. If you said Devin Booker was going to have a 40-point game in the Valley, I would say, yeah, Suns are probably going to win that game. But you got to give a lot of credit to Milwaukee. They never give up. Giannis said this in his post. He's like, we're always going to keep coming at you no matter how many points we're down. Yeah. And he made the big plays. Like the two biggest plays of this series is that huge block that Giannis had on Ayton, which is like people are calling one of the best blocks of all time. It's up there with the LeBron block.
Certainly.
And then this one having that Drew Holiday to alley-oop. It's just like those are the moments I think you're going to look back at the series and be like, Giannis just kind of imposed his will on this team. And Ayton has to be careful because he can't be getting in foul trouble. Yeah. He's the only guy that could do anything to Giannis in this game. Otherwise, Giannis is just doing a pick and roll all day with Milton and getting dunks and offensive rebounds. So much to say. I'm all over the place.
No, let's do it. I'm cool. This is why I like you on the show, brother, man. Yeah, certainly Giannis getting the block in game 4 was massive. He had 1 foot on the foul line, bro. It was able to move over and get that block. Pretty incredible. And DeAndre Ayton's still a young kid. You know, if he had been thinking a little bit more as a veteran presence, maybe he puts that ball on the floor once to see where Giannis jumps to, then jumps around him and jams the ball, and there's no block. But of course, in that moment, you just think there's no way he's going to catch up to you from where he's at, and he did. It was incredible. And then that dunk ounk the alley-oop from Drew Holiday, he's about to go past the rim, JT, and he slams it home just before he goes past that rim to get the dunk. Because
a little push from Chris Paul too.
Yeah, sure, yeah, right. But Drew Holiday said, I threw it up as high as possible to where only he could get it, and sure enough, a great pass. Ironically, the Suns being subjected to a great pass from another player right as near the end of a game there cost him. But I mean, you're right. They not just 40 points here. They also wasted Booker's 40 points in game 4, dude. This is 2 games in a row where he has scored 40 points in the game, and they've lost the game. I think it's the only time in finals history where a player scored 40 points on the team and lost 2 games in a row ever. And when you look at this thing, it took a Herculean effort for the Bucks to win this game. They were 32 of 45 in the middle 2 quarters, outscoring the Suns 79-53 during that stretch. So that's a hell of a thing. And they were flirting with beating the Orlando's mark against the Lakers in game 3 of the 2009 finals, which is the highest field goal percentage ever, 62.5. They were at 62.1% shooting after 3 quarters. They got lower than that by the end of the game, but they were threatening to hit that mark, which tells you how they were hitting on all cylinders against Phoenix, and how much Phoenix was like keeping it close and taking them to task and going toe to toe. But what's interesting to me though, JT, is how they've systematically kind of taken Chris Paul out of this series. He's gotten his points, he's gotten his assists, but he's not getting that 41 point night. He's not getting that because when Chris Paul gets his numbers and the assists, the Suns are difficult to stop. But at this point, it seems odd. This is a quiet series from Chris Paul since the first game or game and a half. He's been kind of doing his thing, but he hasn't been taking over the games as we saw him do in game 7 against the Clippers. And they need that kind of game from Chris Paul, I think, coming up here in game 6 to have any chance to win in Milwaukee with a fervent fan base that hasn't won a title in 50 years pushing on these Bucks.
Well, a lot of people are reporting, and Chris Paul won't say whether or not he's injured. But a lot of people are saying he's got to be dealing with an injury that they're just not talking about. Because he's not just you have to give some credit to the defense of the Milwaukee Bucks too. Yeah. I think Drew Holiday is definitely playing him really well.
Lights out.
But he's not he's like losing the ball on dribbles. He doesn't look like he's just 100%. He doesn't look like he's the Chris Paul we've seen for most of this series.
Yeah.
And if it's not an injury, then you're like, what is it? I don't feel like he would he's not the type of player who's going to collapse under this kind of pressure, because he showed in big games, and especially in the last series, that he could just take over and that he steps up to the big moment. Yeah. So my guess is when this series is over, we'll find out that he had a shoulder issue, something with his hand. There's going to be something that they're not going to say now because they don't want to use that as an excuse when it comes to talking about why they're losing these games.
Yeah.
And for me, I think we talk about Booker getting 40 points. It looks like Milwaukee is locking down those corner players. They're not allowing him to drive to the hoop and just kick it out. They're not doubling him as much. They're really it's almost like they're saying, we're going to let you get your 30 to 40 points, but you're not going to get any of these other guys involved.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Milwaukee is playing really good defense and has a really good strategy. Now, he is still scoring 40 points, and that's why these games are close.
Right.
But if he's the only person you're relying on and Chris Paul's not delivering, Devin Booker is still, pretty young in his career. Yeah. This is still his first trip to the big game. And at the end of the day, the most consistent player in this series has been Giannis.
Yeah.
And I think if Booker was doing 40 every game, they probably would have won this series by now. But he hasn't done that.
Yeah. And Giannis, to me, I think you make a great point, JT, highlighting Giannis. It seems like Giannis, there's a moment in game 3 where he is yelling at the Bucks players, and they were down, right, 36-30 in that second quarter in Milwaukee in game 3. So I think that was the moment that Giannis was like, enough is enough, you sons of bitches. Show the fuck up and let's go take this series because we can win this thing. And so having him step forward when everyone was like, people like Kendrick Perkins saying he was the Robin to Chris Middleton's Batman, it was that motivation, Giannis, to go like, no, I'm the alpha dog here. Enough is enough already. Y'all need to follow my lead and let's go. And certainly everyone seems to be feeding off that. You don't hear any more talk about Middleton being the alpha dog on this team. It has been Giannis dragging this team, kicking this team's ass, and getting critical buckets or critical blocks in moments in the finals that he is leading by example this team. And that's been incredible to watch. And I think that's the difference because, as you said, Booker is still young in his career. Giannis is much more of a veteran now. He's been the MVP. He's had the playoff heartbreak. Now he's got this opportunity to really crown himself as one of the premier players to ever play this game. And it seems like he is embracing the moment, while Booker, who is, of course, getting his points, he's not getting the other players involved in the sacrifice to his points to be able to will this team in a way that if Chris Paul is injured, someone needs to step up to be able to facilitate with the ball. And even him or Cameron Payne don't seem to be able to do that against this Bucks defense.
I mean, Giannis is, similar to Joker in the way he just everything that happens revolves around him.
Yeah.
Middleton has played really well these last 2 games. He's been hitting that mid-range shot, but he's getting these shots because he's doing a pick and roll with Giannis. Yeah. And the defense literally has to choose. Do we, if they both double Middleton, you got a wide open alley-oop for Giannis. So Middleton's doing a really good job, I think, of hitting the shots when he's open and making the decision of when to shoot and when to give it to Giannis.
Right.
So I think, but at the same time, Giannis, when he's going to the hoop, he got fouled several times these last couple games where he could have went to the free throw line, but as he was getting fouled, he was trying to pass it.
Right.
He was trying to pass it out to the 3-point line. Like Giannis knows he's not a great free throw shooter.
Right.
And I think, they could go to hack Giannis, but Giannis's passing has been pretty impressive this series in the last 2 games. And I'm like, he's getting everybody else set up.
Yeah.
And when you're Giannis, gravity, everything just comes to Giannis. And I got to give Milwaukee Bucks a lot of credit for putting a lot of good pieces around him.
Yeah.
Bringing Drew Holiday was huge. Obviously Middleton. Covington's been playing great. He hit some big threes.
Incredible. Yeah.
Covington, he hit some big threes.
Yeah.
And then, even bringing in PJ Tucker for the defensive side, he's not going to score points, but he's going to bother somebody else on the other team and get away. And he played great defense on that Booker, that last play where he didn't try to jump. He didn't foul. He stayed in front of Booker, which caused Booker to have to make a decision. And Drew Holiday was just there to pick his pocket, man.
Yeah.
So great team play.
Absolutely. And Drew Holiday had thrown up that floater in the middle of the lane that he had done off balance that could have cost them the game. If Booker hits that 2-pointer and they win the game, he could have been the cost. So him making up for it by running back on defense and getting that ball back when Booker turned around was a great play, and then throwing the alley-oop. So, and it was funny because I'm looking at the stats for Drew Holiday going into game 5. He was shooting 34.8% for the first 4 games. That is horrific for a guy in the position that he's in. And he was 4 for 20 in game 4. But they powered through those bad spells, and all of them say to a man on the Bucks that his defense is one of the biggest reasons why they got him to replace, who was it, Eric Bledsoe, who had been there before. who had been there before, because they felt his defense and his offense, when he's turned on, could have made the difference. And sure enough, in a critical game 5, and according to the last 50 years of the finals, 21 out of 29 teams that have won game 5 have won the series. So, that tells you something really big in terms of a stat line as well. Do you think it's over? Do you think the Suns have nothing they can offer at this point? If you've got a hobbled Chris Paul, which is essentially your B player to your A Booker, is this season series over, or do you think they're not going to have the right mental edge to go into Milwaukee and steal a game 6?
I'll never fully count out the Suns because they've led in Milwaukee before.
Yes,
they led that one game where it looked like they were going to win. So to me, can they win? Yes. Can Booker? The one game you want Jrue Holiday to have a great game in was the game in Phoenix. Because in order to win a road game, you need to have somebody step it up to another level.
Right.
They had Middleton, Jrue, and Giannis all playing at the highest level, and that's what was able to win a game on the road. You don't need him to play like that in Milwaukee in order to win. We've seen that. They won 2 games where he shot really poor in the 30%.
Yes.
So they needed that one game. They got it. They cannot blow this opportunity to win this series, because if they have to go back to Phoenix, can they win? Of course they can, but it'll be a lot harder to repeat that. To have all 3 of those players. Game 7, the first quarter is like always a mess. People are just, it takes a while for them to settle down because their adrenaline's going so high. It's similar to like the Super Bowl. Like usually Super Bowl, the first 2 quarters are like just the teams trying to figure each other out. So for me, if you're Milwaukee, you absolutely have to try to win this at home.
Yeah, it's crazy because Milwaukee hasn't won a title in 50 years. That's like the Lou Alcindor days before he even changes his name. And the other side of it is Phoenix has never won a title in the 53 years of its history. So, I mean, you've got 2 really interesting teams here, and we'll see the motivation, because you're right. They could come out all hyped up in game 6. The Bucks could, and the Suns just quiet control. And this is where Chris Paul really has to show up as a veteran, as the oldest guy on both of these teams, who's been there, who wants this ring. He's got to settle this team down and find a way to really mess with these Bucks, mess with their heads, and get through to them. And then they have to keep their nerve, because if Paul plays this right, they could be in a position to win this game in the 4th quarter, but they could also throw it away because the crowd will get behind them and whatever. And you could see that happening for a young Suns team, and that would be a shame to see. So I don't know which way I'm last series with the Clippers and the Suns, I felt like the Clippers were going to win in Phoenix because that's that old man stuff. I just felt like the veterans would step forward. But in this situation, I don't think there are enough veterans on the Suns that give me confidence that they'll be able to override whatever the Bucks give them in game 6. But, if Middleton gets hyped up or Jrue Holiday gets too hyped up and they're missing shots, they're getting in their heads, they're getting down on themselves, will Giannis be able to kind of make them wake up, or will Budenholzer make the right in-game adjustments? I don't know yet, because winning 3 in a row, man, against the Suns team that hadn't lost 3 in a row since January in the season is to win 4 in a row against them is a tall order.
Tough. Right? I'm so excited. Sorry.
It's all
right. He is Dalton, are you okay? Hold on.
What is going on there?
Sorry.
I love it.
Sometimes he gets like something with his nose.
Oh, yeah. Bulldogs, they have that thing with breathing.
Dalton's nose. Oh my God! Did you hear that? It sounds like a lawnmower trying to start. I think he's okay. Good Lord. Sorry. Oh my God, I'm out of focus.
Oh, that's all right.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. Yeah. Go
ahead. Do I think Milwaukee's going to win Game 6?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah. And beating the Suns 4 games in a row, that's a hell of an ass.
It's tough.
Do you think that's possible?
I think Milwaukee obviously is in a better position here because I think they are going to win Game 6. But again, I never say never with Phoenix.
Yeah.
I feel better about Milwaukee if they do lose this Game 6. After watching that game the other night, they can go back to Phoenix in Game 7 and win.
Yeah.
I think part of me would love to see Giannis in a Game 7.
Oh my God.
In Phoenix. I want to see him go beast mode. And I think it would be epic. but I don't think that will happen. I think for the most part, Milwaukee, they're not going to – you don't want to squander a chance to win, first of all, in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go back to Phoenix and have a chance of losing this championship. So if you're Milwaukee, you're going all – you can't take Game 6 lightly. You can't think there's – you got to go into Game 6 like it's Game 7.
Yeah.
If I'm Milwaukee, this is a Game 7 I'm going into tomorrow night, and we're going to give it everything we have. And that's one thing I love about this series. Each team is playing their ass off.
Yeah.
They are playing, they're going for loose balls, they're diving. You see the competitiveness. It doesn't feel like any of these teams have taken a night off in this finals. Yeah. Sometimes early in the playoffs, even Milwaukee's been guilty of this. They just didn't show up some games. And the series goes a little bit longer than you expected. Every game in this finals has felt like they have fought every minute and every second. Giannis is exhausted out there.
Yeah.
He's exhausted. And they're getting like 3 days off between games. He still looks exhausted in the first quarter. But he's young. He's the Greek freak. I think he's going to just absolutely dominate tomorrow night. Yeah. He's the most consistent guy, so he's not the one I'm worried about. Right. Middleton's been playing great. If they lay Easter egg here and just – absolutely don't show up, I'll be shocked.
Well, Monty's a great coach. So what is Monty going to find out from this Bucks team over these last 3 games, looking at the film tape? What is he going to what is he going to find here to kind of unsettle the Bucks and put the advantage back on the Suns? Is he going to compose a game plan that really messes with Jrue Holiday and allows Middleton some more open shots, or get Giannis, let him get his numbers? Are they going to reverse the logic on the Bucks, the way the Bucks have put the logic on the Suns, where they're like, we're going to let Booker get his numbers, but no one else is going to get any kind of passes from him, and Chris Paul's, we're going to kind of, we're going to subdue Chris Paul to a degree. So do they reverse that defensive approach and now go after Jrue and kind of hassle him, put Tucker on him, put all these people on him to mess with him and throw off the rhythm of the offense? Do you think that's a possibility here? Do you think they even have the personnel to implement something like that? And what has happened from those first 2 games to these last 3 games? What has happened here?
What happened was Giannis was coming off injury. Was 100%. Okay. And I think, listen, both these teams are really good. You're supposed to take care of your home court. And that's what they were doing until this last game. Yeah. And that's why you were just waiting. Whatever team loses at home first, it feels like they're going to lose this championship. And the Suns are now in a really tough position. I don't think there's much they can do. I think, you have to keep Ayton out of foul trouble. Yeah. Because and let me tell you, Giannis is not making it easy. No. He is like, I am going to go in here, and I don't care that I'm bad at foul shots or free throws, because if I could get half your team in trouble for fouls, he's such a presence and he's such a factor. The only way the Suns can really, I'm not saying they can't win, but the best thing that can happen to them is if he rolls his ankle, is out for half the game, because the only time they look like they can be dominant is when Giannis is on the bench. And anytime Ayton is on the bench also, like Brook Lopez comes in, Milwaukee is a bigger and more athletic team. At the end of the day. Whereas I feel like the Suns are a little bit more skilled players and smaller team. And the Suns were great at getting fast break and like points off turnovers and miss shots. And Milwaukee is not letting them do that as much as they used to during the season, because they're protecting the ball a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. And this reminds me a lot of when Shaq played Hakeem. You say in '95, for those of you a little bit old to remember, Hakeem laid waste to a young Shaquille O'Neal. He completely messed with him. He did all these drop moves, all these sick little moves. Everyone thought Shaq, not everyone, but a lot of people thought Shaq was just going to make Hakeem Olajuwon subdued the whole time. He was going to just completely destroy him or stomp all over him. And Hakeem just pulled out the technical game, the silky smooth game, and Shaq was lost. He was lost watching that. Couldn't guard him, got into trouble, and the Rockets won that title. So there's a possibility here that DeAndre Ayton, not that he's Shaquille O'Neal, but he's kind of a burgeoning superstar here, DeAndre Ayton. Maybe he's the Greek freak with a little more years on him is pulling out the smart moves in certain positions at certain critical moments, and it certainly seems like he's making Ayton think twice about a lot of the things that he's doing there
on offense and on defense. So
he's playing a little bit not scared, but he's like I can't foul out.
Yeah,
I can only.
They have no one else. They have no one else.
No one else. So he's playing tentative, and you don't want to. If you're in the finals, you want to play all out.
Yeah.
The Suns, if they lose this series, need to go get another big guy. Especially if they're going to be ever meeting Giannis again. Right. They need to have somebody else that can help protect that paint because it's all on Ayton right now. And listen, nobody can guard Giannis. So he's doing the best he can, but I don't know, man. Giannis, he just looks like every time Giannis gets the ball, he seems to be making the right decision, whether it be passing, going to the hoop, doing a little sky hook, whatever he needs to do, he's making the right choices. Yeah. And it's hard to beat a team with a superstar who's not making mistakes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Listen, if I was a betting man, I would say Milwaukee's going to close this out tomorrow. But I give the Suns a fighting chance because they've showed they fought every single game.
Yeah. I like that.
And also Booker, I just don't know if he's going to have a third 40-point game.
Yeah, but maybe he doesn't need to. That's the problem. Him getting
But if he's not doing it, who else is going to do it?
That's the thing.
Paul's not going to do it.
No, and you're not relying on Jay Crowder to get you 30 points. It's not going to happen there.
Exactly.
But I like David asking us, you doubt Frank Kaminsky? Yes, we doubt Frank Kaminsky to get in there and do some damage for the Suns for sure. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I agree with you. I think there's a fighting chance, but great players level up in great moments, and it feels to me like Giannis has leveled up in this series, and it should scare every other player in the NBA. If he's leveled up, these Bucks could win more than one title here before he's done, and because he is the amalgamation of what we've seen from Dirk Nowitzki on. This guy is like the complete package all in one. And if he's achieved like Matrix Neo level of understanding of the game in the finals, say goodnight, man. This is going to be a tough out every year, this team.
If he improves his free throw shooting, you're even more trouble. Because that's the biggest knock on him right now is just his free throws. But he's not Shaq. Like he's not shooting a tennis ball. So,
but Shaq won 3 titles. Being unable, or 4 rather.
Exactly. So I'm excited for the game where I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I'm pumped to watch a competitive game, and I'm just excited for Milwaukee or Phoenix, whoever ends up winning the series, because neither of them won a title in a long time or ever.
Agreed. DeMarco Twain says, I used to hate Giannis too, but he's made me respect him. And that's part of leveling up, DeMarco. Like, that's the part of it. Is like, I wasn't a big Giannis guy either. I thought he was a choke artist. I thought he didn't have that mental capacity. I thought he was too much of a soft alpha, but he's certainly shown us in this series, in this finals, that he is ready to be the alpha dog, and what he needs to do in order to push, kick the shit out of his team to get them to a position to win a finals title. Every great player has understood that on a team, and Giannis looks like he has done that. So when you talk about respect, he is absolutely that, DeMarco. So great point there. All right, so we'll see. That's right. It's game 6 tomorrow night. I will be doing a live watch along on Twitch, watching the whole game. So you'll see me live and die with every one of those possessions and have my thoughts throughout. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So come join me there, the Outlaw Nation, watching it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, so we'll see. Definitely. So JT feels the Bucks. I feel like I'm in his corner as well. I think the Bucks as well, but not by a lot. I think these Suns are going to come to play hardcore. We'll see what happens. Agreed. All right, let's see. Don't have any Streamlabs and Super Chats yet. Ladies and gentlemen, please send in your support for the show. Send in the Streamlabs. Address is right there above JT's head. It's in the description of the video and also pinned to the chat. So what are your thoughts? Do you think the Bucks got this thing in hand? No problem. What do you think's been the difference? Why has Budenholzer, who's been a coach known for being unable to make in-game adjustments, what has changed in his coaching over the last 3 games? And how has he been able to counter Monty Williams, who is known for being a really good in-game adjuster throughout this series? What has he done here to kind of stop that, or to kind of put a stop to it overall? Let us know when you send in your Streamlabs or your Super Chat. And please hit a like on this video if you haven't done that yet as well. We love to get the likes. That gets attention for the channel, gets attention for this show as well. All right, let's move on to a little more basketball news. JT, my Washington Wizards have gone back into their history and hired Wes Unseld Jr. as their new head coach. Not Wes Unseld, who of course passed away a year ago, had been coach of the Wizards, was also the center when we last won our title in 1978 as the Washington Bullets. But Wes Unseld Jr. has agreed to a 4-year contract to be the next head coach of the Washington Wizards. The Wizards announced it this past Saturday. There's probably a press conference today about it. General Manager Tommy Shepard said Wes is one of the most highly regarded assistant coaches in the NBA and clearly separated himself from the large and diverse group of candidates. We considered his strong record as an in-game tactician, along with his attention to detail on both sides of the ball, combined with his reputation for player development and outstanding character, felt he was the best choice to take our team to the next level. He worked for the Wizards for 14 years, of course, probably under his dad. He was in scouting and coaching, and then he moved on to Denver, and he has been a part of how Denver has and the Nuggets for the past 6 seasons. That's where he's been, and how he's been a part of constructing this roster to be one of the most impressive championship contenders in the West. So, yeah, he's the 7th black head coach hired out of the 8 openings this offseason in the NBA. That's never happened before, so pretty incredible. But what do you think about this hiring? Does this excite you? I mean, Wes Unseld was not a great coach for the Wizards. So.
I would have to defer. I'll be honest, when I saw the name, I'd never heard of him. He was never on my radar. So I would defer to you a little bit more. Like, how familiar are you with his father? I mean, he obviously knows the Wizards. He worked with them for, what would you say, 15 years?
16. Yeah, 14 years. Sorry, 14
years. So, they obviously know him.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Like, Denver Nuggets, they've been fine, but I never heard of this guy. Like, he wasn't on the radar when I heard about coach possibilities. Was he on your radar at all?
Not at all. Not for me. Okay. It wasn't. And mostly because his dad was such a crap coach for us. No offense to the late, great Wes Unseld, who was a fantastic ball player, great center that doesn't get enough due when people talk about the greats who ever played the game. He was quieter than Tim Duncan when he was doing it, but he was just as dominant in his heyday as Moses Malone was, for those of you who remember him around that time. So I thought he was fantastic as a player. He just wasn't that good of a coach, and we had so many terrible seasons, and Abe Pollin, who was the owner at the time, kept bringing him back, and it was just driving us crazy. But Scott Brooks, I think, did the best he could with what he was given by the numerous general managers over the last 5 years. I mean, he comes into this situation, Wes Unseld Jr. does, with Bradley Beal, who's kind of looking around the league to seeing where he belongs. A Russell Westbrook, who's with that engine, has maybe got a year or two before the engine starts to slow down a little bit, like it did for AI. And you do have a good core of guys, but you don't have a core of guys that's going to get you to a title right now. So what work is he going to do here? I don't know, but I want to give him a little bit of rope. But his dad's name and his dad's reputation as the coach of the Wizards does not give me a lot of confidence overall. Like you said, he constructed these rosters, but he didn't coach these rosters. And as an assistant coach, I don't know. He was an assistant head coach at Denver, but he wasn't the head coach. So it's an interesting move for the Wizards. But I don't know I don't understand the logic behind it, because were people clamoring for Wes Unseld Jr.? I don't know.
I mean, they probably got him on a cheaper side. That's one.
Oh, good point. Good point. Yep.
He's at least, he's put in his time. This guy's not like someone who's coming out of college to be, 14, 15 years as an assistant head coach. Yeah. It's probably time to give him a shot. And they're probably, with the history they had, they're like, hey, your dad was great with us, at least behind the scenes. So they probably just want to give him a shot, and we'll see. I can't, there's not really much to say until we get see some games and see how he actually does. Yeah,
and to be fair, like you said, and he's been around the NBA or working in the NBA for 24 years. So it's kind of maybe he's due. Do you know what I'm saying? He was an assistant for the Wizards from 2005 to 2011, then for the Warriors for a year, then went to the Magic for 3 years from 2012 to 2015, then was with the Nuggets for the last 6 years, and now stepping in to be the head coach for the Wizards. So we'll see. I mean, I want him to do well, because I want my Wizards to be in contention again for a title, or at least winning a couple of playoff series would be nice. So we'll see. I like what he says here. George Murison is rolling over in his grave. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? All right, let's move on to our next story here. This one's about Team USA. Maybe you got something more to say about this, JT. Team USA men's basketball rallies here to beat Spain, who is the current title holder in the world, in a final exhibition before they head on off to Tokyo. And who even knows if, I don't know what's going to happen at the Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? This morning, Toyota pulled out all of their ads on the Olympics. Toyota, which is a Japanese manufacturing company, is pulling their ads. And then we've had one of the tennis players test positive. One of our up-and-coming female tennis players test positive for COVID. One of the reserve gymnasts test positive for COVID. So I don't know what we're going to do here, but Team USA have been taking some hits. Durant and Lillard were not able to win the last couple exhibition games, but they showed up in this game and they beat Spain 83-76. And this is their last exhibition before they're going to. Do you have faith that this team, as it's constructed, is going to win an Olympic gold medal, or do you think they're just going to place like bronze? Or
I think they're going to probably win. I think at the end I think a lot of people were it was a little bit overblown losing these exhibition games. These guys, these guys literally just got off playing a full NBA season.
Yeah.
They're not going to go 100%, they're not just going to give 100% right away in the first exhibition match.
Right.
And they do have to, take a few games to learn how to play with each other. These guys are the pros. They're the best of the best. I think when it comes down to the real games, I think it's going to be hard for anybody to beat them. There's just too much talent on that team. Right. Durant alone, no other country has a player like Durant.
That's true. But you look at the construction of the team, though. I mean, this is a lot of people who couldn't get the job done in the playoffs. These are the teams.
Yeah, but we're not playing. They're not playing the other best teams in the NBA. They're playing the other countries, and some of these other countries have really. The thing that these other countries have over us is their teams have been playing with each other for so long.
Right.
And then we just kind of throw around this all-star team. Yeah. And it's really the coach's job in the U.S. to just get them to be all on the same page. I still think they got to be favored. Just the talent will outweigh the experience at some point.
Yeah, and we'll see. Look, there's a couple of Bucks who are on this team, I don't know if they win the title, if they get excused from being a part of it, or they go right on over to play. But yeah, you've got Adebayo from the Heat. Bradley Beal now is out, along with Kevin Love. They both stepped down from the roster and replaced by Keldon Johnson, who, to be fair, had a good game against Spain. But JaVale McGee, I saw Shams try to push up JaVale McGee as a two-time champion. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's like saying what's his face, Jack, who was Rodman's friend on the Bulls roster, that he's a two-time champion. Get out of here. Devin Booker is also on the team, so will he slide on over? Yeah, we say Durant, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday is one of the Bucks. Zach LaVine is on this team, Damian Lillard, and Chris Middleton and Jason Tatum. I don't know. This assembling of talent does not strike me as a team that's going to necessarily win this title, but you might be right. I could be wrong. Popovich is the coach here with Steve Kerr, Lloyd Pierce, and Jay Red out of Villanova University. So I don't know.
It's hard because we don't know as much about the other teams.
Right.
Isn't Doncic playing for his country?
Yeah, he got his team in the.
That's then you have to worry about him, but. I don't know. I mean, listen, the U.S. has failed to win in the past.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's with good teams. JT.
Yeah, with good teams. Popovich, Popovich is the coach, which I think is a plus.
Yes, true.
I think at the end of the day, like I said, the talent will exceed the experience of the other teams. Okay. I think they should be favored. I think everyone expects them to be favored. Yeah. I have faith they'll get the job done.
Okay. They go into group play on July 25th, so it's just a few days away. They start off with France, then they play Iran on July 27th, and then they close out group play with the Czech Republic on July 31st. Right now, they are a 15.5-point favorite against the French in their first game, according to BetMGM. So who knows? If they lose that first game,
then I'll worry.
Then you start to worry. If they lose to Iran, it's over, for God's sakes. All right, let's see if we got any Streamlabs or Super Chats that have come through. Nope. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Send in some support for the show. We got 75 of you all watching right now. Give us some love. Do you have some questions you want to ask us about the world of sports? Send in some love here. The Streamlabs address right above JT's head. It's also in the description of this video and in the pin to the chat. So send in some support here for what we do here on Game Time every week, bringing you fun conversations about the world of sports. All right, Tom Brady. Let's move on to JT's favorite quarterback in the history of mankind, Tom Brady. He played through a fully torn, not partially torn, fully torn MCL during the Buccaneers Super Bowl season, per this recent report. He was 43 years old, but he set a franchise record passing for 40 touchdowns, led the Buccaneers to the title here. And this is being reported by Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, who reported this on Thursday. Said he was on a fully torn MCL the whole year, and he just had surgery this off season. So, I mean, this is insane. He threw for 4,600 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions last year. They went 11-5 in the regular season, then beat the Chiefs 31-9 in the Super Bowl. He didn't look to me to be hampered by anything. And certainly we're seeing Giannis coming back from a knee injury, seeing what he's doing in these finals. And then, of course, what Embiid did for the Sixers playing with that knee injury too. So talk to me. What is this madness?
I mean, he's the greatest quarterback to ever played. I mean, listen, he's not Lamar Jackson either. Yeah. You know, this guy, you know, he sticks in the pocket. He makes the right decisions. He gets rid of the ball before he gets hit.
Yeah.
He was a very smart player. I don't know how long did they say it was for the whole season? Or
the whole season.
Like, that's crazy.
He was talking about the knee issues in training camp last year.
Wow. So I mean, I don't know what level these MCL sprains have, but it couldn't have been as bad as it could have been. It probably,
JT, it's not a sprain. It was torn. It was torn. It was not a sprain.
I'm sure he sat with a doctor. Doctor said, you can play with it this year. You know, take care of the offseason. And listen, TB12, you know, he has a whole program where he stretches out his muscles. And what's scary is he's going to come back to Tampa Bay this year, and he's going to know the offense better. Yes. He's going to be better than he was last year, and he's not going to be injured.
All right.
God help anybody that has to play. I mean, they could easily repeat. If Brady repeats and gets his ninth ring?
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
There's no conversation.
There's no conversation.
There's
right now. There's no conversation.
Really?
I know you're just he's just building on top of buildings. This is crazy.
It's madness. If he's going to be healed from an injury and he's coming in with two good legs, good night. Of course, this news breaking doesn't help him because the defenses could start to key on that knee as well. Now they'll start to focus on that, taking those little shots and whatever. And, that dirty. 1 year he missed, he got a knee injury in the first game. ACL, and that was really serious. So clearly we have gone. Yeah, level 2 Trey says, dude, it was a tear. You don't just walk that off.
Yeah, exactly. You don't walk it off.
So
that's crazy.
This is what's crazy overall. It's madness about how he's going to be able to come back this season now with two fully good legs. And as you said, a mastery of the playbook. What can we expect? Is this going to be an undefeated Buccaneers team now with him at the helm? Would the irony be that he goes 19-0 with this team and not the Patriots? Oh my God!
Don't tell me that. That would be unbelievable. I think there's too much competition, especially in their division.
True.
And I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still out there if he decides to come back to Green Bay.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
It's just so hard for any team to go perfect. The Patriots flirted with it. They were one game away, but it just didn't happen. They can still say they had a perfect season, just did not perfect. Yeah. They just didn't win the Super Bowl.
It's like the Warriors. We broke that win record. We didn't win the title. Yeah.
But Brady said even towards the end of last year, when they won the Super Bowl, the offense was never 100% on the same page.
Yeah,
so he was still learning.
Yeah,
and he said at some point, the coach kind of let Brady take over a little bit. Say, listen, do what you have all this experience. Do what you think is best at times. He gave Brady that freedom to change plays, but now they have a whole nother offseason. There was really no offseason last year. People forget that.
True. That's true.
So now you had a whole season with this team and off season. It's it's going to be real interesting to see how they come out. And they have some tough games. And I think first week of October, they go to New England, and that will be a sight to see.
And a lot of those New England players are already talking shit about how they're going to treat Brady
I saw that. The players, not the
right. Of course not.
Kraft will welcome him with open arms.
Kraft and Belichick will both welcome him with open arms. But yeah, those defenders are going to try to kill him. That's for sure.
I want to know who's going to be the quarterback when he shows up. Will it still be Cam? Could it be Mac Jones? I don't know, man. I'm curious to see. I'm just curious. I can't wait for football to start going. I'm ready. I know. It's almost coming. We're almost there. Another reason that this might be an issue for the Buccaneers is that you're supposed to report injuries. You're supposed to be on the injury report. According to NFL guidelines from the league's handbook, I'm reading right from the league's handbook. It says all players who have reportable injuries must be listed on the practice report, even if the player takes all the reps in practice and even if the team is certain that he will play in the upcoming game. This is especially true of key players, and they underlined that in the rule books. Ladies and gentlemen, they underlined it. They put that in the official printing of the book to underline that. So that tells you that Tom Brady, A, is a key player, and B, the Buccaneers should have been highlighting this. And it's like the NFL. It's not like the NFL hasn't fined teams for this. They fined the Green Bay Packers when Brett Favre was kind of messing around with his injury stuff, and they fined the Steelers when Roethlisberger was messing around with his injury stuff. So, I mean, this could be an issue for the Buccaneers because one of the punishments is the player himself is suspended from playing in some games. Roger Goodell could suspend Tom Brady for the second time in 5 years for a violation of league rulebook policies. What do you think about this? Do you think they're just some people who don't mind breaking the rules because in the end result they do win and people don't care about the rules that much? I'm curious, why do you have to, if you're going to deal with the whole season and you plan on playing every game, there's plenty, I'm sure, of players that have injuries that aren't being listed every week.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm just like, listen, Tampa won a Super Bowl. They don't care. You could find them wherever you want now.
Exactly.
They're like, yeah, we didn't tell you, but guess what? We won a Super Bowl. So I'm not. If I went back, I wouldn't change a thing. Yeah. I just think I don't know when you have to. Did he have the injury before the season starts? So why would you put it? Like, I don't know exactly what the rules are, but at the same time, if you're playing every game and that doesn't change the game plan, like, why does he have to report it every week?
Because it's in the rule book. It says you got even if he's playing, he's got to report it. They've got to report it.
But there's players that have no players not dealing with some injury by end of the season.
You're right.
And every single one's not reporting, I have a dislocated toe. Like, they're just, unless it's something serious, they're not going to put it on there.
Well, I think a torn MCL qualifies, JT.
It is, but he didn't look like it. He
didn't.
Great.
No, he didn't.
Like, it didn't show up on the field.
Right.
And who gives a damn?
There you go. See, that's what they rely on. The fucking shit. NFL gave a no comment when the Pro Football Talk reached out to them about the situation. Doesn't mean they're not going to do anything. Probably just means they're investigating it. Lord knows they probably are walking on eggshells investigating Tom Brady again for possibly violating the rules, and the Buccaneers as well. Now, Brady was asked about his injury minicamp in June, and he said it was an injury I dealt with really since last April or May. I knew I'd have to do something at the end of the 2020 season. I'm happy I did it. It was probably something that certainly needed to be done. There was a great outcome, so I'm very happy about that. So, so he has talked about it maybe way back in 2020. And just to give you an update, Brett Favre, the Packers were fined 120. I'm sorry, it was the Jets. I'm sorry, the Jets when he was playing.
He was playing with the Jets. Okay.
Yeah, I totally forgot he played with the Jets.
Yeah, one season, I think.
One season, right? He did some terrible shit there. But he was hit with a $125,000 fine when he was with the Jets, and the Steelers were fined $100,000 in 2019. The team and then Tomlin $25,000 for not accurately listing Ben Roethlisberger. So we shall see overall what ends up happening. Maybe something will come down. We shall see.
They got a Super Bowl. They'll write whatever check they need to write and be happy to do it.
Yeah, Cobalt Swordsman says Brady never told the Bucks about his knee. That's a way around it, I guess.
Boom. Yeah, it was a personal. There you go.
You slimy son of a bitch, Brady. You slimy, smart son of a bitch.
He knew he had a chance to win Super Bowl, and he's like, I'm not giving that up.
He's not saying shit. I'm not saying shit. And it helps the Bucks. It keeps them out of getting punished. That's a fair point. All right. But I'm pretty sure he let it slip to what's his face, Arians. All right. Anyway, let's move on to Richard Sherman here. This was not such a great story. Richard Sherman pleaded not guilty today to 5 charges, saying it was Friday. He is remorseful for his actions. For those of you who don't know, Sherman was arrested early this past Wednesday, after police said he crashed his car into a construction zone along a busy highway east of Seattle, then tried to break into his in-laws' home in the suburb of Redmond, Washington. Officers said that he armed himself with a handgun the officers armed themselves with a handgun and fired pepper spray as Sherman tried to bust the door in with his shoulder. And then officers were cautious about arresting Sherman because of his size, strength, and belligerence. Apparently, according to the police report, he displayed, quote, severe mood swings and slurred speech, had bloodshot, watery eyes, and had the odor of intoxicants emitting from his person. But Sherman told authorities that he was upset over his children being taken from him. He allegedly resisted arrest. Then his mood seemed to lighten after he was arrested. He even joked about the form the trooper had to use to take him to the ground. And they said Sherman was polite and cooperative at the hospital where he was taken to be treated for a police dog bite he suffered during the altercation with authorities. He did release a statement on Twitter saying, "I'm deeply remorseful for my actions on Tuesday night. I behaved in a manner I'm not proud of. I've been dealing with some personal challenges over the last several months, but that is not an excuse for how I acted. The importance of mental and emotional health is extremely real, and I vow to get the help I need." So why do you plead not guilty if you're basically admitting you did what you did on Twitter?
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it sounds like he was obviously intoxicated. I saw the footage of him banging on the door. When he makes a comment like he's having some mental issues. So we don't know the full story.
Right.
All we could do is just react to what we've seen. Hopefully he gets some help. Hopefully, his wife did come out and, say he's a good person and that he was just going through a tough time and that he was intoxicated. So hopefully this is hopefully this is not the norm. This is just something that just happened this one time. Yeah. And he gets the help he needs, really.
Yeah, he was also, his wife also said that she called the police and he was threatening to hang himself. He was threatening to hurt himself in that way. And it wasn't like he just ran up to the door and started, trying to push it in. He tried to initially have a conversation and then kind of absolutely lost it overall. And I think well, you know what, I think we should let's take a look at it real quick, so for those of you who are watching us,
the judge took him out without bails because he was the judge said he's a pillar of his community. This really just goes against what we know about him. So
a lot of people know about him.
I think that's what's so surprising about it.
Let's take a look at this here. This is him walking up to the house there, and you see him. Let me push a little bit forward. There we go.
Not seeing it. I always see his click.
He's trying to.
I don't see anything on my screen.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Click to exit full screen.
Oh boy, I hate when I do that. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Got to figure this out.
You can probably play it just there. I think we'd be able to see it.
Is it? Oh, can you see it right now?
It's just frozen, but I see it.
Okay. How about now? Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay. Let me turn the sound down so I don't get in trouble for the sound. But then you see him, look at that. He is.
No, he is really trying to break that door down. It's not just talk.
Yeah. And that's a scary situation. This is where you start to look at, well, the NFL players need to be aware themselves. This is a very scary man, and coming in, nothing is, I know Richard Sherman, he's been a crap talker. He's done all the stuff that he's done, but look at it. He is yelling, slamming into the door, but he's putting his hands behind his back, almost like, hey, just come out here. I'm trying to be cool. Then he tries to open the door again now, and then he gets a little more, and then he starts to push again to want to get in. So you have to ask yourself, what would have happened if he had gotten through the door? And they're stumbling around in the condition that he's in. There could have been some real violence here towards his loved ones.
And again, I think the part where he was intoxicated is because I think when the cops show up, if he was of sober mind, he would have been like, hey, I'm having an issue here. But the fact they had to get a dog and pepper spray him shows you he was not in the right state of mind, and he was obviously drunk. And David in the comments is absolutely right. The term I was looking for was isolated incident.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what it is. That's what it looks. That's what we're all hoping it is. And because this is the first time we really heard any trouble from him.
Yeah, that's true.
Outside the field.
Right, exactly. For all he's gotten into people and people's faces on the field, he's a passionate player. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But yeah, the off the field, when you're seeing a video like that or footage like that, that's really unsettling. And JT, your mind can't help but go to CTE. Is this a CTE, the beginnings of a CTE issue with Richard Sherman? You hope not. Hope he was just belligerent and angry and drunk or whatever. But if this is something where he's not, I mean, he's saying mental health, personal issues. If there's evidence, if there's stuff that if there's tests that they can do for him to see if something's going on here, I think he's got to pay attention to this, man. I mean, he's got nothing left to prove, Richard Sherman. He is already a legend.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that aspect of it, but I don't know what his concussion history is.
Right.
So it's hard to say if that could have been a factor.
Yeah. I just throw that in there all the time because you just never know.
You never know.
So yeah. And he was charged. Here are the 5 things he was charged with: driving under the influence, endangering roadway workers, resisting arrest, and domestic violence related counts of malicious mischief and criminal trespass. So those are all the things he was charged with. The misdemeanor, they're all gross misdemeanor. The DUI and reckless endangerment are gross misdemeanors, punishable by up to a year in jail and a $5,000 fine. The other ones are simple misdemeanors for sure. So yeah,
I don't think he'll see any time.
Yeah, probably not. But he's also being investigated in connection to a hit and run that happened at about 1 a.m. They received a report of a single car accident in which a car hit a concrete barrier. So that could be part of it. And the NFLPA is aware of it, so they're monitoring it, and we'll see what happens. But, all right, let's put that in the mix and hope. We hope the best for him. We hope nothing happens to him for sure, and gets the help he needs, because he seems to need some kind of help in this situation. So, all right, let's move on to our next story here. And this is as we round into the last half hour of the show. And ladies and gentlemen, please send in your Streamlabs super chats. Any questions you got going on here? Anything you want to know from us? Please send it in. Streamlabs address is right there above JT's head in the video, or in the description of the video and in the chat. All right, let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys here. JT, Michael Irvin is saying that the Dallas Cowboys are not serious about being champions right now because they are one of those teams that are not expected to cross the 85% threshold for player vaccinations before they report to training camp on Tuesday. Right now, according to the NFL Network, only 13 teams have qualified for that out of all the teams that are in the NFL. But he also said that he was asked if he is visibly upset and wonders aloud if this team has what it takes to ultimately return to the Super Bowl, and if it should upset them. And Irvin said, yeah, and it should upset them. It should upset them. Dude, you're not thinking right. I don't give a damn. Nothing else can be more important. You're not going to get this Super Bowl easily, and not being one of the vaccinated teams says there's other things to a great number of people on this team that are more important than winning championships. And that makes me worry. Now, to be fair, JT, Irvin is from a time in the early 90s when winning titles was all that mattered, and we weren't as politically divided as we seem to be now about every issue, and certainly the vaccination issue. Cole Beasley taking a lot of crap in Buffalo and other areas for his comments about not being vaccinated. Do you think Michael Irvin is right? And we're on the precipice of Hard Knocks starting here on HBO really, really soon. Do you think he's right that the Cowboys are indicating that they're not serious about winning this title because they're not getting vaccinated to the level where they would have more practices, more contact in the practices, and less people or more people being involved in these practices?
I don't think he's right. First of all, I don't think Dallas has much of a shot to get Super Bowl anyway. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? Is there a chance? Of course, every team has a chance.
Sure.
But they're on Hard Knocks for a reason because they had a losing record. Now, Dak Prescott is signed. That's going to help.
Yes.
But they're still not quite there to be a contender, in my opinion. We'll see how the season goes. Anything can happen. But listen, this is an individual thing. I mean, it just happens. More individuals on the Cowboys don't want to get the shot. It's not like it's a team mandate. I'm sure
it's not.
It's not. So because it's personal to each and every person, it's hard to blast a team for not having a certain percentage when at the end of the day it's not up to the team.
Yeah, and this is the thing that's confusing too. Because, but you know, the NFL is trying to walk. They're trying to walk in both parks here, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to say, like, we're not going to force you to get vaccinated, but if you don't get vaccinated, these are the restrictions. And here, let me read you the restrictions.
If your action has consequences.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not fully vaccinated, you're going to have a daily COVID-19 test every day as a player.
Mm-hmm.
Then you wear a mask at the team facility all the time. You must continue social distancing from your teammates who are vaccinated. And you can't leave the team hotel when you're on the road, not even to eat in a restaurant. These are the limits you have. Whereas fully vaccinated players don't have to wear a mask, don't have to do a coronavirus testing daily. They can travel with the team to away games, work out in the weight room, and participate in marketing events, among other things. And the Cowboys don't even have enough first doses to get close to that number to qualify at this point. And, we're dealing with Jerry Jones, probably a huge red state guy. We're dealing with Texas. So, maybe they think in some way that they don't think they need to get vaccinated and just let it ride. Irvin says, call me stupid because I try to take any little thing and turn it if you are a championship team. Any little thing, because a championship team is not something that you can walk by. It's not candy that you pick up out of the bowl. Every decision has to be made like you're winning championships. If you're not one of the vaccinated teams, are you really thinking about winning a championship? So, all right. So you think it's not an indication of anything because they never really had a shot anyway.
Well, it's not a team decision. So to me, like I said, because it's individual. Now that you could go at each one of those individuals, right. Be like, why aren't you getting it? Like, what's your reasoning?
Right.
But if it's a health, they're putting their health over, winning, and it's hard to yell at somebody for that.
Yeah, and that's what he's advocating here. And when it goes on with his quotes, he's basically, I'm not going to read them all, but he's basically saying that if I was on the team, Michael Irvin was on the team, I would be getting up in people's faces who are key players to our team and who are not vaccinated. And he said, I might even get into fist fights with them about it to make sure they get vaccinated. Because to me, they're showing they don't want to win the Super Bowl. Because if they test positive, they can be suspended from 1 or 2 weeks of games, man. I mean, we saw that. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel both tested positive, I think, last season. So, that's another side of this too, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said earlier, Michael Irvin's from a different time and, a different kind of attitude. So it's hard to say with today's NFL how that would go over.
Level 2 says Winston is somewhere looking at JT with that side eye. The Cowboys don't have a chance.
Speaking truth.
I agree. Probably the same problem with the Texans. I bet the Houston
Texans, man.
Although no one's thinking about them as a title contender for sure.
They trade everybody away.
That's right. And Watson can't keep his hands off people. All right, let's allegedly. Let's move on to our next story here with the Boston Red Sox. This is your team here. Alex Verdugo was hit. Outfielder Alex Verdugo for the Red Sox was hit with a baseball at Yankee Stadium on Sunday. This caused MLB to ban the fan for life. They were able to find out who the fan was. Apparently, Verdugo was just throwing the ball into the stands to a Boston Red Sox fan, and a Yankees fan intercepted the throw and then threw the ball back and hit him in the back. That's assault, JT. In any other city in the world, that's assault, but apparently this guy wasn't arrested. He's just banned from MLB games for life. We saw fans storm the court during the Euro tournament. Fans stormed fans jumped onto the field. I think this is getting worse. I don't think this is getting better. To me, these are not isolated incidents, as you said earlier. This, to me, feels like this is a trend of fans are starting to become more and more entitled about being able to express their emotions at these players in violent ways. Or do you think I'm just overstating this?
A little bit of both.
Okay. All right.
I feel like in 1940, this would have been every day at the Red Sox Yankee game. I think we're just reporting everything now. I mean, you go back to the old days of the Red Sox Yankees. Well, I think much worse things happened than throwing a baseball at a player. Now, listen, obviously, I totally agree he should have been kicked out. Yeah. I agree he should be banned. You can't be throwing balls at guys. But at the same time, it's the Red Sox Yankees. I get the hatred.
Right.
But For me, like I haven't seen video of this. I don't know if there is video of this.
There's video of him freaking out. That's for sure.
But did this guy like just throw it back, or did he throw a heater directly at this player? Like I don't know what like did he just throw the ball back and it happened to hit him in the back, or did he wind up and try to hit this guy as hard as he could with like a fastball? Like I don't know what the circumstances are.
Yeah.
So like if say he threw the ball, Red Sox fan, the Yankee fan grabbed it, and he just threw it back to him, like lobbed it, and it hit him in the back.
Right.
Then I think okay, he's being a dick, but I don't know, banned for life. That's a little harsh. But if
what? You think that's harsh?
If he just threw the ball back, like he was just trying to throw it back in the field and it hit him in the back. But if he like wound up and was like trying to cause some serious injury to him by like throwing a ball at his head or something, then that's a much worse case scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
But
listen,
go ahead.
People throw water balls, they throw popcorn. I get it. Baseball's a little bit worse, but this stuff's been happening forever. And I think it happened probably a lot worse. They're probably throwing hammers at him back in the 40s. It was probably a lot worse. So I don't know, man.
That's ridiculous, man. No one's throwing hammers.
I don't know, man.
What is wrong with you, man? So there is video of his reaction, but no video of the actual ball. Let's take a look at the video of his reaction. Yeah, here, let me bring it up here.
He's like, F you, man. Don't throw a ball at me.
Yeah, he's going at this guy. Like he wants to go. He's like, come bring. He's like Serrano. Bring that shit to me, man. Bring that shit to me. But yeah, it was a young kid, and to all the Yankees fans' credit, when he threw the ball at Verdugo, a lot of Yankees fans immediately pointed out the kid apparently was a young kid. If there's a shot here it is. So yeah, this is the kid. They're all they're showing this here, but you're seeing this is the kid that threw it. So you're seeing that kid. So he's
the red shirt kid?
Yeah, no, it was the dude in the blue shirt. They were looking at him right here.
Him right there?
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's being highlighted. Yeah. So.
Again, like
they're pointing it out. Sorry about that. They're pointing it out. Yeah. Here he is. Yeah, see, there he is. He's taking him out. So yeah. Look at his dumb kid.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He threw the ball back. It probably hit him in the back, but I don't think he threw it with intent. Like that kid does not have the arm.
No,
where he could throw a heater at that guy in the field and actually cause any sort of injury. Like the ball probably hit him. It was like a tap on the back, and he was just like, "Who the f threw something at me?"
Right.
So, yeah. But listen, I get it. He should. Is he banned? Yes, I do think he should probably be banned.
Right.
Is it harsh? It's harsh, but there should be no leeway for that kind of stuff. If there's any chance he could have got hurt, you got to ban the people.
I think I have a new goal in the Schmoedown to get something thrown at me.
Yeah, get those at me. Yeah, bring it on.
Do it. I'd love to jump into the stands. All right, JT, defending Yankees fan, repent, people, repent for the end is upon.
I just said I understand the hatred for Red Sox fans, just like the Red Sox fans have hatred for Yankees.
Yeah, that's true.
This kid's just an idiot. He just threw a baseball when he shouldn't have.
Level 2 saying JT from Boston is not new to him. Maybe. Who knows? All right, let's see. Let's move on here. Yeah, they're not going to arrest him in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So that's crazy. I don't know. All right. All right, well, let's move on to another story that's been it's a little bit more real than a ball being thrown at somebody. This happened a few days ago between the San Diego Padres and the Washington Nationals. Apparently, the top half of the 6th inning in the game between the Padres and Nationals in D.C. had just ended, and there was like 33,000 fans there at the stadium when several shots were heard on South Capitol Street. Now, I'm from the DMZ, Virginia, DC, Maryland, Virginia, DMV rather. And I know, I know South Capitol Street. Went by there many, many times. So I know exactly where this is happening. It's outside the third base stadium. The shooting was an exchange of gunfire between two people in two cars, which left 3 people injured. One woman was injured. She was there waiting for an Uber and got hit. Yeah, random bullet in the back, and the other 2 people walked into a hospital with gunshot wounds. But apparently, Fernando Tatis was quick thinking when he heard the shots, and he opened the door to the bullpen to where the families were at of the players, and immediately got them down and out of this situation. So this seems it feels like maybe it was just a random thing that happened between 2 cars. They didn't seem like they were doing it on purpose to injure anyone in the stadium. But still, you add this upon stuff that's been happening. It just seems kind of weird now. this whole situation with what's happening around. What did you think about all of this?
Well, it's not. I mean, I think the neighborhood surrounding that stadium isn't the best.
Yeah.
It has a history of crime and violence.
True.
Baltimore has a horrible crime and murder rate. So I think I think it's just a case of a criminal act happening outside of the stadium, affecting the people inside. The biggest fear was like an active shooter coming to the stadium and just
right
shooting anybody he could see. That's your first reaction when you hear shots fired in any kind of public area. So on the one side, you're like, thank God it wasn't that.
Yeah.
On the second side, the MLB did the right thing. They stopped the game.
Yes.
Made sure everybody was safe. And, you hear the intercom in the videos, like no one leave the stadium.
Stay where you're at. Exactly.
Stay where you're at. Because it was happening outside the stadium.
Right.
But yeah, it's scary, man. We're conditioned in America. Anytime you hear gunshots, first, you don't think of isolated incident. The first thing you think of is a actual like shooting of multiple victims. So or somebody just going into a movie theater or a school, like you think of that first. And that's the sad thing is that's the first thing that comes to your mind instead of, it's an isolated incident outside that has nothing to do with the game. So it's just sad.
Yeah, you're right. And, the Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser and team owner Mark Lerner said the police don't think, quote, the Washington Nationals, the ballpark, or the fans were the target of a shooting. So clearly it was. And you're right. And I'll be honest with you. I'm more surprised that this hasn't happened more. That we haven't heard, because some of these stadiums aren't, as you said, in the best neighborhoods. Fuck, man, I went to see the Yankees in the Bronx. That was some scary ass shit to be in the Bronx back when Yankee Stadium used to be in the Bronx. I went to one game at Yankee Stadium. I feared for my life the whole effing time I was there because of that neighborhood was not there. Leaving at nighttime, thank God I was with a friend, but leaving nighttime from the Bronx, that was not a good situation. Fenway Park is a different, that's a very friendly area in terms of like there's bars and beer and all. There's parks around Fenway, so it's like it's a cool area. But like the Bronx, that was rough.
No, totally. I mean, the Raiders back when they were in Oakland.
Oh my God,
that was a rough area.
Yeah,
you always heard about incidents happening inside and outside the stadium.
Oakland was no joke, man. Absolutely no joke. So. All right, we shall see. Hopefully this, and I'm glad that everybody acted. It's great to hear about both the Nationals and Padres players acting in a positive way to get people out, get people safe from their areas where they were at. And so hopefully they'll this doesn't happen again. It would be nice for that to happen again. All right, we got another story here. I don't know how much you know about golf, JT. Is golf your thing at all in any way, shape, or form?
Not really. I saw Tom Brady play a couple weeks ago. That was about it. I mean, listen, I saw Tiger Woods play a couple times.
You do,
but never been a big golfer.
So poverty is bad. Good talk. Poverty is bad, son.
Yeah,
Michael Carter. How's that? The fuck, Michael? Jesus Christ. I was poor majority of my life, son. What do you need to know about being poverty and being poor and poverty? I'm happy to school you on it if you think it's something that you're not aware of or don't understand. I'll explain it to you step by step, man.
Talk to my dad. Grew up in a third world country.
Yeah.
Left when he was 15. Was shot, stabbed. Was in gangs. Like
Jesus.
I have the most cushioned life compared to my dad. My dad has been through it all, man. So I know what I've heard all the stories my dad told me.
Exactly.
It's tough, man.
Yeah. So suck it, son. Suck it is what we're trying to say. All right. Well, let's move on to, as I said, golf, non-poverty here story at all. Collin Morikawa won the Open over the weekend. It's no longer called the British Open. It's just called the Open. Won it over the weekend. He's 24 years old, and he's one of the first only two players have ever done what he did, which is win the Open the first time they played it. It's the second time in 50 years that anyone has ever done it, and it's his second second tournament that he's won there overall. So pretty incredible for this guy to win the Open and start to push forward his
That's like somebody winning the Super Bowl their first year as a starting QB.
Oh my God.
AKA Tom Brady.
Yeah, but no one went down to hand him the keys to the situation. So yeah, Ben Curtis was the other person to do it, did it 18 years ago. So pretty incredible for him to win one of the majors there, or win two majors actually, but winning this major, the Open, in his first attempt at only 24 years old. It's incredible. Just when you start to latch on to one player, another player comes right along. I mean, it was Dusty Johnson, just Spieth, all these guys come through, and you think, oh, this is it, the second coming of Tiger, blah, blah, blah. And then someone else comes along a year later, 2 years later, and no one's been able to capture the golf world the way Tiger has. But a lot of people are talking about this kid as a real possibility of being that. A lot of people saying he speaks and acts and talks as if he's been doing this a long time, even though he's only 24 years old. So pretty incredible stuff, though, for him to win this, especially at being only 24 years old. And it wasn't like he was ahead by a lot of strokes the whole time. It got kind of tight near the end. So you got to give him a lot of credit for being able to handle what he handled here. So it's incredible stuff. Anything to add on this, JT?
I mean, golf is like barely a sport to me.
Oh my God.
It's a skill. It's a very sharp skill. It's kind of like archery. Archery is a skill, but a sport, it's tough to call it a sport sometimes.
That's hilarious to me. That is so funny to me. I mean, somewhere Mark Ellis, his ears just perked up.
It's fun to watch, and I'm not saying like it's not great to watch. It's competitive. It's a competitive thing, but bowling, is also very competitive, but it's barely a sport in my opinion. It's a game. It's a professional game.
Oh, all right, there you go. A game. I like. Do you think bowling is a sport?
No, as I'm just saying, it's barely a sport. It's not really a sport. They drive golf carts between holes. Sometimes they walk, I guess. But
so what you're saying is you want a sport where they run to the next hole. They run and they have a 24-second shot clock as soon as they get to their ball. You have 24 seconds to hit the ball.
Yeah, then you're actually putting some athleticism in it. Like at least in baseball, when you hit the ball, you run to the base.
That's true.
Imagine if baseball, they just walk to the plate, hit it, and then walk back. Even if they hit the ball, they're like, all right, that's 1 point for us. David says they always walk. Great, they always walk.
Yeah, they do. They always walk.
I didn't have a car for a bunch of years. I wasn't calling. I was an athletic sportsman because I was walking all day.
Great point, man.
I mean, but again, it's a skill. Don't get me wrong. Like I can't hit a golf ball for shit. So
right.
I'm not taking anything away from them. Hitting a golf ball skillfully is very skillful. It's just hard to call sport.
Right. There you go. You heard it from JT, ladies and gentlemen. There's this is some late breaking news here. Zach LaVine apparently was put into health and safety protocols today and didn't travel with the rest of the team on its flight to Tokyo for the Olympics. And they hope he's going to be able to join them later on in the week.
Tokyo seems like it's going to be a disaster, man.
People are getting infected before they even get to Tokyo. I know. JT.
It sounds like it's going to be a rough go, man. I'm excited to watch it just to see if it's like a total shit show or if it actually works out.
Yeah, I think. Exactly. I'm going to be watching to see what happens. That's for sure. But yeah, he's not going to travel with the team. That to me is a little crazy overall. So I don't know. I don't know. It just seems to me like. They're tempting fate by doing this. They're actually tempting fate by doing this, having this games at all. It just doesn't make sense to me in any way, shape, or form. Also, Melvin Ingram, pass rusher Melvin Ingram, has signed a 1-year deal with the Steelers. What's your feeling about this? He played so well for the Chargers, and now he's moving on to the Steelers. They are trying to let Ben have one more shot here, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they lost their running back, Corner. What's his last name? Yeah, they lost him, so they have to fill that. I mean, I'm curious to see how. I mean, it's a 1-year deal to try to fill that hole, and Melvin Gordon, I think, still probably has some good games in him. So I'm
not Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Ingram. Sorry,
pass rusher.
Pass rusher. I thought you were talking about the running back. I was like,
no.
Did they just sign their first round running back though?
Yeah,
I think I got stories confused.
Yeah.
Okay, so they just signed their first round pick, which is a running back. But Melvin Gordon is a pass rusher.
Yeah.
And they signed him also. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Melvin Ingram. Yeah, he's a pass rusher.
Yeah.
But he was he made the Pro Bowl he made the Pro Bowl for like 4 years straight. So a good player overall for them from 3 straight seasons, 2017, 2019. And over those 4 seasons from 2015, 2019, he racked up 43 sacks. And he put up similar numbers last season, and he played in just 7 games due to a knee injury. So this is go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Just Roethlisberger is like, it's just like hang out by a thread. Like they're squeezing every last ounce of juice they can get out of that lemon. Or I don't know, man. I think they need to restart. They have to be on the verge of a rebuild, right? Well, they had the best.
Not while he's still there.
Did they have the best record for most of the season last year?
Yeah, they were 11. They were undefeated through the first 11 games of the season. They finished 12-4. Yeah,
but yet they just. I don't know if it was just a weak schedule or I don't know what it was, but they did not show up in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're going to. I don't know how they're going to look. To be honest with you, I don't know how they're going to look, and it worries me that they're banking this all on Roethlisberger and one last year, but. Are they going to be able to get the job done? I don't know. I don't know. All right. I don't see any other news breaking sports-wise, my man. Anything that we have missed that you want to talk about?
No, just excited for the game tomorrow, really. Yeah. You're going to do a Twitch watch-along?
I will, yeah.
I will tune in a little bit to see how you're reacting.
Okay.
I'm just excited, man. It's been a great series.
Yeah.
I want to see if Devin Booker shows up. I want to see if Giannis continues his greatness. I want to see, listen, I just left Milwaukee.
Yes.
So I'm a little excited to see, that town win a championship. And they don't have a lot out there, Rocha. Yeah. They could use a championship. Any excuse they can go to a bar, they'll take it out there. So the bars are going to run dry if they win this game. It's going to be insane.
One last thing here. The SEC commissioner today, Greg Sankey, he announced that 6 of the conference's 14 football teams have reached an 80% mark for vaccinations, but he said that number needs to grow and grow rapidly. We've learned how to manage through a COVID environment, but we do not yet have control of a COVID environment. It's ironic for the SEC, right? Because he said that they can control if a team is unable to play because of coronavirus issues. Sankey said games won't be postponed and has recommended the conference removes the 53-man roster minimum that was put in place last year. You're expected to play as scheduled. That means your team needs to be healthy to compete. And if not, the game won't be rescheduled. And thus, to dispose of the game, the forfeit word comes up at this point. That's his official comment. So this is interesting. Wow. Battle they're lining up here, JT, because the SEC, that's red state country, son, and there's a lot of people that don't want to get that vaccination, don't want their kids to get vaccinated. So he's putting it on the table that if you don't get vaccinated, your team doesn't hit that 80% mark, you're going to forfeit games. It will affect your record. You've got teams like Bama, Florida, LSU, all kinds of national title contenders in there, man.
Well, it's different from the NFL. Because these colleges are responsible for these students.
Yes.
So they have a lot more responsibility when it comes to NFL, where it's every man for himself. You're playing for money. So I agree with this. Yeah. This isn't like they're not going to compromise when it comes to protecting the student body. So
right.
I totally agree.
There's a responsibility here they can get sued for if they don't get on top of certain things, for sure. Yeah, that's a great point, JT. Yeah, so I hope more, and it's ironic, the SEC is the one doing this. I hope more conferences follow suit here and keep going with this and force, encourage their respective teams in their conferences, their universities to get the people to hit that quota. Because you don't want to lose. I mean, they lost a lot of revenue last year in college football. So the last thing they want to do is have yet another situation. Yeah.
Listen, you can't make people take the vaccine, but you can draw a line in the sand to be like, you don't have to do it, but if you don't do it, you can't do this.
Yeah.
And now it's your decision. So
right.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. We'll see what happens. All right, let's wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of Game Time. Really appreciate you all taking the time to hang out with us. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for the comments that you're going to leave as you watch the show or after you watch the show. Would appreciate it madly. You all doing that. And thank you for the couple of super chats that we got. No Streamlabs came through today. Maybe we need to work on what we need to do to attract you all to send in some money and support the show. We'll see as we go along, and we'll see next week how we deal with what's going to happen after the NBA Finals with the show. We'll let you all know what we're going to do with that as well. JT, thanks again for hanging out, man. What do you got going on? Where can they find you, my man?
Just down there, JT Moon. Thanks, and I'll be. I'm excited to talk next week about the new champion of the NBA.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll know by next Tuesday for sure.
Have you started dropping reviews on your channel yet, or no?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, all right.
Soon. I mean, they just put the mask mandate back in LA, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, that's right, they did. Yeah. All right. Good luck to you all. There's nothing like that here. Whew, just hanging out.
Nice. By the beach.
By the beach, exactly. All right. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't subscribed yet, and hit that bell button so you see all the content we're dropping. Dropped the trailer reaction this morning for Snake Eyes, the final trailer for Snake Eyes. That comes out this Friday. I'm going to see a screening of it on Wednesday, so I'm hoping it's a good movie. You've got Old tonight, so we'll report
fingers
back
crossed.
Yeah,
you never know with him, man. I like Split. Glass was a disaster. We'll see, man. I'm getting a little bit of the Happening vibes from the trailer at times.
Oh no!
I'm hoping it's more like The Visit, which I enjoyed. That's probably the last film of his I really enjoyed from beginning to end.
All right. I'm going to go see Pig tomorrow. There's a 10 a.m. show, and I hope I enjoy that. Everyone says it's good, so I want to see it.
It's great.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, and you can follow me if you want to join me on the watch along tomorrow night. The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. That's where you can find me. So go follow me there. And then that's it. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be well, be safe, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of Game Time live next week here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Be well.